Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
You know, Luca Nation, happy Monday. Let's kick off another episode of Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. Cage is doing this episode from the train ride home. He looks like Bane. He's about to take over the entire train and flip it. But I want to talk about something, and this is something
very nice of you. I'm gonna break your back.
I want to kick off today's episode with something I've learned in my life, and I want to see if this kind of hits a spot with you. Yesterday's game, the Bucs Saints, they got destroyed. And you know, I'm someone, and we're investors, we're speculators, we're gamblers. We're always trying to make sense of things, right? We're trying to understand, why does a card go up? Why does a card go down? Why is the Pokemon market going up? Why did this card crash? Whatever. We're always trying to understand, rationalize. And something I've learned is to move on, because some things just don't make sense. And that's what I chalk up yesterday's game to. Like, looking at that game, the Bucs, everything was pointing to a revenge game. They have all their guys back and healthy. The Saints typically don't play well outdoors. Breeze doesn't play well. Everything was pointing to the Bucs having at least a competitive game, right? Coming down to the last field goal or overtime. And to get blown out like that is frankly super embarrassing. But I think the lesson that I took is sometimes things in life just don't make sense, and you don't need to understand them or explain them. You just need to move on. What do you think of that, Cage?
I like it. Kind of want to move on and give picks today.
Okay.
It's been an interesting week, man. It's been a very interesting week. I'd love to get back to our grass roots here, get back to our roots of, finding some plays for people and making some money.
Okay. Well, fine. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, listen, NBA draft is coming up soon, guys. So, you got, what day is today? November 9th? You got 9 days. Basically, the draft is next week, right? It's November 18th, the draft. So that's going to be front and center, right square in people's minds. You're talking about a month before the season starts.
Yes, sir.
You have draft, you have free agency, you have literally now, because that draft happens and lead up to the draft. Prizm released, the draft Prizm basketball cards last week. I've already seen it run up. You talked about Luca. Luca's cards have already gone up. Trey's cards are starting to go back up. We talked about buying them, close to 400. They're now 500. The base PSA 10. We talked about buying even lower level Devontae Graham type players, and those cards have gone up. So what I tried to do was try to find a guy that I thought had some upside for folks that you could still buy relatively cheap, either in a raw, a PSA 10, maybe even the silver PSA 10, because maybe at the time that this thing was broken, people weren't grading. So I went back to 2017 Prizm. And
the Donovan Mitchell action, Jason Tatum action.
Keep going.
Bam Adebayo
action. Keep going, because what you're doing is you're making my point for me. Because, yes, that's what everybody looked for in 2017. But my guy averaged over 20 points and over 10 rebounds this past year.
Wow. He's a big man? DeAndre Ayton?
No, you could say he's a big man. He's not. That's 2018. And he has gotten better every year since he's come into the league. Now he has a little bit of the shine came off this year because, and this will give it away. He had a little bit of suspension.
Pascal Siakam?
No, and that would be the rookie this year. So 2017 Prizm, this guy's rookie. Everybody thinks the Hawks. Everybody thinks Trae Young. I'm going to give you John Collins. Now,
I like this play a lot.
I'm going to tell you, man. Sneaky, right? And also so far under the radar because the Hawks haven't really been good, but that's going to change. Everybody's investing in Trae Young, and that's well warranted. You guys all know I have a whole bunch of Trae Young cards. But the thought with Trae Young is he's going to keep getting better. That team's going to keep getting better. All the young pieces. John Collins' rookie year, he averaged 10.5 and 7. His second year, 19.5, 9.8. This past year, obviously in only 41 games, 21.6, 10.1. Field goal percentage, 58.3%. Yes, they added Clint Capella. Yes, the shine came off a little bit on him when he got popped for a growth hormone, I think, with 25 games.
Mhm.
But he came back, and I think he had like 27 points in his first game back. To me, I don't think anybody cares about that minor 25-game suspension in basketball. And why I pick him is I think you can still get him cheap. People are not looking at him as that stud. But this is a guy who, I mean, if you play fantasy, he should be on your radar for an
100%.
early round player. I'm not talking about a first round pick, but he finished last season. So most fantasy leagues or 12 teams, he finished last season ranked 12th in per game fantasy value.
Yep.
And 7 over the final 18 games, where he averaged almost 25 points on 62, 49, 79 shooting splits, 10.1 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 block plus steals, and he played 36.8 minutes during that span, right? So the guy, he's legit. You could potentially, based on last year's numbers, be talking about him as a late first, early second round fantasy pick, and yet he gets no run. He gets no play. He gets no hobby love at all. And I love Devontae Graham, but I was shocked when I did my research on this guy, and his prices are right around Devontae Graham's pricing, with significantly less population. Although people are grading this guy, people are onto it, so he's not a complete and total unknown.
Yep.
But this week you can get his PSA 10 Prizm card for between $100 and $125, and his silver is not that much more. I saw the last one sold for just over $300. I'm sure those are going to go up because people are going to start looking for basketball. But this is a guy who, he already did it. He's already done it. He's averaging 20-10. He's on the upswing. His team is on an upswing. And look, I saw the end of October for $500. I think it was $530 in the PWCC auction. One of his blue Prizm PSA 10s at a $199 sell for $530. Try finding a tray for 6 times that.
Let's tango a little bit here.
Yep, please.
2 weeks into the season, the Hawks are 14-3. Trey's putting up 30, 10, and 3, and John Collins is putting up 24 and 10. What card of his do you think appreciates the most? Is it the silver? Is it the base? And these are all in PSA 10s. Is it the base PSA 10, the silver PSA 10, or the blue PSA 10?
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to find a blue. I love the blues because they are. But for a guy like this, if you're looking at it like, I'm going to buy it now, and a couple weeks into the season, he's having a good run, the Hawks are good, and I want to sell it, I think you're fine with either the base or the silver in PSA 10. I think you're fine with raw cards if that's what you think. I actually think this guy is a good long-term hold. And if you're looking at it for long-term hold, I'll say this with everyone, whether it's a Luka, Trey, whoever it is, you buy a numbered rookie, ultimately that's going to win out over the non-numbered rookie cards. But if you're looking to buy a couple, you're looking to spend $100 or $125 right now, I think this is a guy look, no offense, of course, but I don't think you can get a Tyler Hero. I don't think you can get 2 of this guy's PSA 10s for 1 Tyler Hero. I know Hero was great, right? But what's Hero's card sell for? 2?
220, 225.
2 and change,
double this guy's price.
So I mean,
there's no way he's double the value of John Collins, dude. John Collins is a savage. Let me ask you this.
He's a good player.
I'll ask Luca Nation. How many big men? And I wouldn't say he's a big man, but he's a power forward. Remember the old classic 2000s power forward? Remember when that used to be a thing? It's not even a real thing anymore. I used to love the Kevin Garnett power forward, but this guy's shooting 40% from 3. 40% from 3 and 80% from the free throw line. How many big men do you know do that?
Yep.
That's tough to stop.
And that's why I'm not that concerned. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with the draft. I don't know if they're going to trade. I don't think they're going to trade their pick. I've heard a lot of rumors and things might change. Capella is going to take away some of the inside. But a guy like this can move to the outside and have success and shoot more threes and shoot them well. So you might actually see his points go up because of that. So it's interesting.
Really big fan. I think he's a demon deacon. DeAndre Hunter is a guy they drafted out of UVA. But John Collins, man, I think they drafted him 1 year before DeAndre. Really big on him. Great play, Cage. Really like this. This is such a sneaky play. I like it a lot.
By the way, he is. He's a Wake Forest Demon Deacon. But DeAndre Hunter was 2 years later. Hunter
2
was
years
last
later.
year's draft class. Yep.
UVA guy.
Yep.
They're really good at running that offense there. I want to give you a double play here. So my play, and it's going to piggyback a little bit on what you said here. As we're about a month and change out from next season, I personally, and again, I'd love to hear what you think here. I'm a sell the hype kind of guy. I'm not someone that's going to be holding a lot of Prizm-based PSA 10s into the start of season. I'm someone, remember watching The Last Dance? Actually, Jordan Price's peak right before the documentary launched, which was unbelievable. I sell those Prizm PSA 10s before. But you know what I think is a really big lagging measure or a lagging card? The select courtside PSA 10s.
Beautiful cards.
It's beautiful. They're beautiful cards. So my play today, and I love this. Sometimes I give a player, I give a release. Today, it's find your own. And John Morant is one that I've been looking at. Like a John Morant courtside, let's say you're a believer in Ja long term, right? There's not a ton of courtsides graded. There's not a lot out there. Sometimes there's 10, 15 PSA 10s. John Morant courtsides are $600-700. Tyler Hero courtsides are $500, $600. Well, let's compare that to the Prizm PSA 10, which has thousands graded. It's a no-brainer. So if what I would be doing right now is I would be gearing up to sell the hype on the Prizm PSA 10s and move some money into a guy you believe in. This is up to you. You could choose. You know who your guy is. We all have our own guy. Into a courtside PSA 10. I think it's a beautiful card. I think it's kind of turned into that long-term investment vehicle in a lot of ways. The silver is, if you can get the silver, man, the silver courtsides are unbelievable. The silver courtside Luka is probably a $20,000 card. I think it's really the long-term hold for a lot of investors in the space. But that base courtside, I think it could demand a premium if you're holding long-term, if you're holding 1, 2, 3 years out.
And it's because, so let me ask you now, so I'll bounce it off you. Would you prefer that select, would you prefer the courtside over, let's call it a Prizm numbered, let's say blue out of 199 or red out of 299, depending upon who it is, what the team colors are, and that kind of stuff?
No. And that's a good point, by the way. You have seen team color really demand a little bit of an interesting premium. No, not even close. Those are cards are in a category of themselves. But I will buy a courtside if it's slightly more expensive than a Prizm PSA 10. And if it's $200-300 cheaper than the silver, that's pretty interesting to me. Because it's basically like I'm buying like an alter, like the ball behind the back cards or the ball under the leg cards.
Yep.
Those are kind of cool, and we should actually do an episode to talk about those because those variations are really interesting. And they're also
SP retail variants, right?
Yeah. I like those, but oftentimes that courtside is kind of just like it's like a variation of the green in a lot of ways, right? Like the green used to be a bit of a premium price, but it's so SP. They're so low pop where it's basically, do I want to get 2 Prizm PSA 10s of a guy or the courtside? I'll take the courtside over those 2 Prizm PSA 10s, especially if I believe in the guy long term. I don't love how much pop is out there on the Prizm PSA 10s. So why don't I hold the same player in a really nice card in a release? First of all, that is more beautiful, but it has a fraction of the population. So that's when I would buy it.
What do you think? This is mostly for your Prizm analysis for the last couple of years, right? You're not saying go sell your Kawhi 2012 Prizm and buy a select card, right? You're just talking about it specifically because of the population play of the most recent years of basketball, where there's thousands of PSA 10s of these guys, right?
Exactly, and what you're going to see in these next couple of weeks, like I went in to look at a guy named Kobe White. Is it Kobe or Colby? Colby, right? But I went in to look at Kobe White's price.
Spelled differently than the Lakers.
I went in to look at his prices, and they haven't dropped. They're actually starting to trend up. I think I lost you. You're with me? So they started to trend up, and I'm thinking like, well, I'm not gonna pay $200 for a Kobe White Prizm PSA 10. Like I'm just not. He hasn't played. He hasn't proven anything. But if I was to start investing, why don't I go look at the court side, which has a fraction of the pop? So it's in these next few weeks, you're going to start seeing these cards of NBA rookies or sophomore, third-year players start trending up in the Prizm. Take a look at the court side because that's not going to move as quickly. But there's less pop, so they'll move fast.
So your goal is, you could buy those before they move up, while everybody else is looking Prizm. You look here.
Exactly.
Did you have more than one play, or is that the one major play? Just find your guy and go with the court side.
My major play is sell the hype, which is don't hold Prizm PSA 10s into the regular season. Sure, they might keep going up a little bit, but you're going to have an opportunity to rebuy. Sell them on the hype, take your cash, and sit on the sidelines as season starts like a cobra and start catching trends like we were talking about. Right now, it's all hype, and I love making money on hype, taking money off the table, and then rebuying in later.
Is this for everybody? Like, would you recommend that same strategy for like a Trey, even though he's already been 6 and change for his PSA 10 and now it's only 5? Would you hold him into the season, waiting for him to score 40 points potentially a game?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think a lot of the people that follow us probably bought Trey at 375 to 400, right?
True.
So
true.
Even the Luka we recommended was 1100. Now it's 1400. Now you might think, well, why would I sell? Well, you're in 30%. You literally just made 30% on your investment without a guy ever stepping foot on the court. That's delicious. If you could just churn out 30% over and over and over again, man, you're going to be a millionaire. So, yeah, I'd love 30% gains when my guy doesn't even step foot on the court.
I like it. So, I mean, here, guys, even the top flight guys, they're starting to move their way back up once they start to get to that preseason frenzy, that hype over the next couple of weeks. Andrew's telling you to take some money off the table, and I kind of agree. Although we'll see. I mean, I have plenty of Trey.
If they're math, you're a different case. But if you're a math guy, right?
Yep.
The entire equation changes the day the season starts. Your risk threshold, it's just different. Now there's way more risk inserted into the equation with maybe as much upside. Right now, there's very minimal risk, if any at all, with the same amount of upside. So I think about that stuff a lot.
So let me flip the question the other way. I think Collins is a good buy now, and you might be able to sell him before the season starts. You got a month and a half, right? Do you think that guys who have started to go up are no longer buys? Do you think that we're too late? We've been telling people to get on the basketball trend during the baseball playoffs, and obviously we told people about Trey. It was 400, not 5. Has everyone gone up? Do you think that now it's too late for people to buy basketball if they want to try to capitalize this and sell in a couple of weeks? I think my play Collins has not jumped yet. It's gone up a little, but it hasn't jumped yet. I think it's going to be significantly more in a couple of weeks.
Collins is incredibly under the radar. I haven't heard one single media account talk about Collins, like even a little bit. Like I haven't.
So we bring them to you.
It's true. I haven't even heard media accounts that love Trey talk about Collins, who's literally the guy who is probably second best player on that team. They talk about Cam Reddish. They act like Cam Reddish is the second best player on the team. He is not. I'm telling you guys, if you're in Cam Reddish, get your money out while you can. The guy is bad. He's very bad.
A little bonus play, sell Cam Reddish.
Dude, I watched all of the Duke games when he was with the team with Zion and RJ. Imagine being in college, having Zion and RJ on your team, and still not being very good as a player. You get literally wide open lanes to the bucket. The guy's horrible. And he's a Philly guy. He's from Norristown, PA, by the way, which is kind of cool.
Normally, you give those guys the benefit of the doubt.
He's just not very good.
A lot of stuff packed in here, right, guys? John Collins has not gone up yet. I think it'll be too late to buy him soon because I think he's going to continue to improve. If you improve on a 20, 21 point, 10, 11 rebound season, you're talking about a guy who is an all-star. You're talking about a guy who's going to start getting that name recognition, a guy who who, if you just look at the points for fantasy per game last year, is a first-round pick in fantasy. So people are going to start doing those fantasy drafts, and you can start hearing John Collins' name we talked about as a sleeper this year, as somebody who puts up points every year, is getting better and better going into his fourth season. I'll jump on him if you can. But the better plays for today are look for courtside. Try to flip 1.5 or 2 of your Prizm base into a courtside, because those are going to be the better long-term investments on guys that you like. Get rid of Cam Reddish.
I'll tell you my prediction with John Collins. He's going. You know how like right around this. Well, this is going to be weird. They might do away with the All-Star game, but let's assume. You know how they start talking about guys who are going to make the All-Star game? He's going to be one of those guys. He's going to get snubbed because he's still young next year. That's when you sell. But he's going to be in the conversation for the All-Star game when he puts up his 22.5 points a game on 40% three-point shooting and 10 rebounds. He's going to be in the conversation, no doubt.
I like it. Well, listen, Luka Nation, if you happen to be somebody who is subscribed to us, gets your notifications on, and knows when we drop these episodes, you'll be able to jump on the John Collins that are available on eBay now. So we don't ask you guys for anything. We give you the stuff as free as we can. But at the end of these episodes, I tell you the same thing. Thanks for listening. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Subscribe. Put your notifications on, and tell somebody about us. It's the only way we can continue to grow and continue to bring you the stuff that we bring you every day.
Paige, it's been amazing, man. More and more people are hitting that little airplane, like the little triangle share button, and sharing our post to the story. We get more and more each day. Like sometimes I've gotten 10 of those, and even the little requests, people share a story that we're not following yet. But point is, if you find any value, just hit that little airplane, share it to your story, share it to your friend group. That's really the only way that we grow and gain traction. So if you find any value, please, please, please share. It means the world to us. That's all.
Thank you, guys. That's all. Love it. Talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.